This episode is brought to you by Monkey Nutrition. Should people not go to school, or should they go to school questioning what they're being taught?
Well, that's the most important thing. Question it. You see, if you just assume all schools are equal and all schools will do a good job, you're not doing your job as a parent. Obviously, you should question and then ask yourself, what does my child need to learn? So if you read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, they're not learning what my rich dad taught me, it's like, I don't want a job. Can you imagine being in high school? I grew up in the 60s going, but I don't want a job. And they go, and it violates all the Puritan beliefs. You got to work hard, got to be a tax-paying person, but I don't want to do that. And in most schools, that type of philosophy or thought is not allowed. I got spanked, scolded, thrown out of school for having what they call radical ideas. But again, I said, Steve Jobs made $1 a year, Bezos $1 a year. I don't want a paycheck. And I'm not giving the answer. I'm just saying, why don't they want a paycheck? And that's when you start to learn. When you ask the question, you start to learn. And as a parent, you got to ask yourself, what are they going to teach my child?
Yeah.
Will they damage my child, or will they educate my child? Education comes from the Greek word educe. Educe means to draw out of a person. But what schools too oftentimes do is they put in, not draw out.
So they're kind of giving her a subconscious message that you're doing all this training so you can work for someone someday. And
that's what I think.
Right, and buy a house.
I didn't want to do that.
Right, okay. And buy a house that's not an asset, but a liability.
Yeah.
And work up these school loans, and then you pay them off. And it's almost, I don't know, I guess it's not a slave mentality, but it really is this.
It's a paycheck mentality.
A paycheck mentality.
Look at the other side. They say, don't get into debt. I'm in debt up to my eyeballs.
Right. Because as a businessman, you want some leverage.
Well, there's good debt and bad debt.
Right.
See, bad debt is debt I have to pay for. So my house, I have to pay for it. So it's bad debt. Mortgage is bad debt. At the same time, I have about $300 million in debt. But it's good debt because my tenants pay it off. My landlord. So I'll say it again. So good debt is debt that somebody else pays off for me.
Right.
And so that was the lesson of Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And the way my rich dad began teaching me when I was age 9 was just playing Monopoly. 4 greenhouses, 1 red hotel.
Love that game.
Yeah, today I own red hotels, and I go back home, and my family, they're all school teachers. They say, oh, Robert, have you found a job yet? I go, no. Oh, too bad. You see, they can only see one side of the yin and the yang.
Right.
The rich are the other side. My point is, the reason it's hard for the poor and middle class to get rich is because the philosophy, the thoughts, the actions, the education is opposite. I don't save money, I borrow money. Okay, once you understand that, I go, why would he do that? Well, if I can borrow money, I never have to say I can't afford it. I can afford anything I want as long as I can borrow for it.
Don't miss London Real. Subscribe now.